If you want to run your DJI Action 2 camera module for longer periods of time without worrying about overheating after a few minutes, then this could be the answer: the Tilta Action 2 cooling system. Tilta have already provided several solutions for the DJI Action 2, a single camera cage with a unique locking design and a built-in USB-C charging port, as well as a dual module version with the same precision build quality. We even have a shock-absorbing frame mount for absorbing micro jitters, complete with its fidgety and sometimes frustrating installation process. So Tilta aren't new to the Action 2, and now they go a step further with a unique cooling solution, helping to keep the camera module running cooler for longer. Using the camera module alone is rather convenient due to its small size, but it's no surprise the thing overheats rather easily at higher capture settings, especially with little airflow. So that's where this new mount comes into play. Not only does it help protect the camera thanks to its very tough, completely metal design, that unique design helps draw heat away from the camera body by way of a heatsink surrounding the entire body of the camera. In essence, this increases the metal surface area by a large amount, and that increased surface area means increased heat dissipation. Bearing this in mind, it's still very lightweight, albeit it does of course add bulk to an otherwise small camera setup, a sacrifice many would make in order to capture high quality video for longer periods of time. Nevertheless, in typical Tilta fashion, it's crafted to perfection. No issues with build quality at all. Getting the unit open is also a relatively simple affair. Tilta have done away with the locking clips on their standard frame cages and have now opted for a new design here, consisting of a simple sliding mechanism instead. When the mechanism is pushed forwards, the latches are in a locked state, with a handy lock symbol which you can just about make out, and sliding the mechanism backwards reveals a small unlock symbol, and of course the latch is unlocked, allowing you to now release the top plate from the main body entirely. Just like the standard Tilta cage, at the very bottom we have the pin array, used to interface with the Action 2 camera module, and passing through to the USB port built into the rear of the case, allowing direct charging. More importantly though, notice the built-in thermal pads on each side of the cage as well as on the top plate. These hug the camera module, passing heat from the camera to the cage itself, just like a standard CPU heatsink for instance. The Action 2 camera module slides neatly into place, where it's held nice and firm, while the top plate can be lowered into position before the latches are closed on either side and locked into place again on both sides. What we have now is not only the added protection all around the camera, but heat from the unit can now pass directly to the heatsink design on the outer side. We maintain easy access to the single button at the top, as well as clear access to the antennas, so no hindering wireless signals at all. Even the status lights and the microphone pinhole line up perfectly well on the front of the unit. Of course, we have the USB charging port around the back, and even with the larger overall design, we still maintain the magnetic attachment system, so full compatibility with the various Action 2 magnetic mounting options. In fact, we go a step further. There's even a standard 1/4" 20 thread built directly into the base for even more mounting versatility. However, do note that there's no pass-through from the camera to the bottom of the case because of that tripod thread, meaning you can't dock with a module to view a front screen, offload footage, or even top up the camera battery at all. Even so, on the face of it, the system feels really robust. The camera module sits nice and secure with no wiggle room whatsoever, thanks to the ridge around the rear, which doesn't hinder the rear display at all. Although note you will of course lose the ability to attach any lens filters to the front of the unit. So the question is, does this fancy cage actually make a difference? Well, with the camera set to capture footage at its highest 4K resolution, 120 frames per second with Rocksteady enabled, and set to record in an indoor environment, completely untouched and with no airflow, I managed a capture time of 4 minutes 12 seconds. Personally, considering the small size and power of this thing, I still think that's quite respectable. Nevertheless, with the exact same settings, same environment with the same ambient temperature, although this time within the cooling cage, if we fast forward again through the recording, we see an obvious difference with a capture time of 5 minutes 18 seconds before the camera overheats, so just over a minute extra recording time. Although that's an obvious improvement, so the case is certainly helping somewhat, To be fair, I was expecting more of a difference. Looking at Tilta's website, they claim almost double the recording time in an indoor environment. Obviously, I got nowhere near that. Saying that though, if we set the temperature threshold setting to high and repeat the same test, we do of course achieve better results. Now bear in mind, heat is a component killer, so I do not recommend you perform these tests for no reason on your unit. You can let me do that for you. But we finally achieve a much better time of 9 minutes 46 seconds. Still not quite close to Tilta's stated times, but much better nonetheless. Although their second claim does ring true. Taking the camera outside with the Tilta cage mounted to bicycle handlebars, so with plenty of airflow, and an ambient temperature of around 24 degrees Celsius, again capturing at the highest possible settings available, I actually managed to capture until the internal memory was full without any overheating at all. Granted, this was only around 20 minutes or so due to the high capture settings and internal memory limitation, but it's still a clear improvement with the Tilta cage. It's certainly doing its job perfectly well. No matter which settings I chose to capture at, I was able to record until the memory capacity was reached, or until the battery completely depleted, with no overheating whatsoever. So, all in all, this cooling cage by Tilta not only helps in providing a protective armour for the DJI Action 2 camera body, it allows you more flexibility when mounting accessories too, and more importantly, although I didn't quite get the manufacturer claimed performance, it certainly helps draw heat away from the camera module faster, keeping it running cooler for longer and resulting in longer capture times. The fit and finish are superb, and that locking mechanism works equally as well, although at the expense of a larger overall size of course. This certainly isn't the cheapest Action 2 cage available, but if you're looking for high quality, versatility, and probably the best cooling system currently available for your DJI Action 2, then the Tilta cooling cage comes well recommended.